Last time we talked about dehydration. I brought up the book Your Body's Only Cries for Water, and hopefully I made a good case for how dehydration is really a root problem for a lot of diseases and health issues that we experience. Today we're going to dive into hydration even more and talk about pH. Now, last time I told you about my son Logan and how he had horrible eczema all over his body due to different food and environmental sensitivities. Now, we ended up getting that loaner machine I had spoken about last time, and he broke out in boils. His body had such a toxic overload that he actually got quite a bit worse. And I'm going to talk about that a little more later. But another interesting side effect that happened to me, because the whole family started drinking the water, I was pregnant with our fourth child, and I was in the first trimester, which meant for me that I was nauseous. I'm always very nauseous the whole time of my first trimester. Well, after drinking the water for 2 days, my nausea completely disappeared. And that was interesting to me, so I experimented a little bit with myself, and I stopped drinking the Kangen water and drank normal tap water, and the nausea came right back. And so that was a wonderful surprise for me, that drinking the water made the nausea go away. And then I also ended up reading later in this book that because water is so vital for your cells and what your cells are doing in your body. I mean, think about cells multiplying as life is being created in your womb. Of course, that takes a lot of hydration to be able to support that. So that was something that was really neat. Today, we are going to talk about pH. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the machine. I don't even know if I had mentioned last time, the machine that we use to hydrate our bodies is the Magic Kangen machine. And it does a lot of things. One thing that it does that we're going to focus on today is alkalize your water. Now, how that works is that the water goes from your faucet into the machine. And the machine has 7 platinum-coated titanium plates inside an electrolysis chamber, and they're polarized. So as the water runs through the chamber after going through a nice heavy-duty carbon filter to get out all the nasties, but keep the good minerals in there, it's polarized. So you've got negative ions going out one hose, it's a discharge hose. You've got positive ions, the water with positive ions going out the top hose, and that splits the water. So you've got alkaline coming out the top hose, you've got acidic water coming out the bottom hose. So that's just kind of a brief general way that this machine works. It's all about the energy. Titanium and platinum, they are the best conductors of electricity, which is why they use that in the chamber that pumps the water full of electricity, splits it, and you get the good water out the top. So let's talk pH. If you remember this from chemistry class, this is a pH scale. We've got neutral, and then we've got alkaline and acidic. Now, one thing to notice, neutral is 7, and then as you go alkaline, you go 8, 9, 10, 11, and then down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So when the pH is a 7, neutral, if it is an 8, it's 10 times more alkaline than the 7. Just like if the pH is a 6, it's also 10 times more acidic than neutral water is. So it multiplies. So when we get into soda pops, and you're going to see that they're down in the 2.5, we're looking at 10,000 to 100,000 times more acidic than neutral. Now, why does neutral matter? Neutral matters in our bodies because our blood needs to maintain a very specific pH. Our blood needs to maintain a pH of 7.365. There is very little variance in that, 7.2 to 7.4. And if we are filling our bodies with acidic drinks and acidic foods, then our body is going to need to pull from our bones, from our teeth, from other organs, in order to maintain that pH in the blood.
Now let's see where these waters stand on the pH scale. The first one we're going to do is tap water, and you'll actually notice that it's pretty alkaline. So the reason that is that the powers that be have decided that you don't want water running through the tap and then corroding metal pipes. So they will add lye or other chemicals to the water to maintain its alkalinity and therefore to protect the pipes. Now let's look at Dasani water, and you will notice that that is a pretty acidic water. Next we'll do Mountain Canyon, and we have alkaline again. Something you need to know about bottled water is that the laws for labeling are virtually non-existent. So it can say it comes from a fresh mountain spring, and it can come straight from the tap and be filtered, and sometimes baking soda will be added to the water in order to make it alkaline. So let's take a look at Smart Water. And you have pretty acidic water. And let's look at our Sprite. I used the clear one so that we could see it better. Oh, ugly. This is totally acidic. Look at that, the orange. Let's try the Gatorade and the vitamin waters. And we've got orange water there also. Let's take a look now at the Kangen water. And you will see that it is totally purple. Oftentimes people will even call Kangen water purple water. So you see that it is definitely the most alkaline of the waters here.
If our body isn't fully hydrated, if there isn't lots of good water available to our body, it will prioritize. And where it will go first is our brain. Our brain needs to stay hydrated above all else. The same with alkalinity, acidity. The priority for pH is the blood. Blood has to stay at that 7.365 number. Now, overly acidic bodies can lead to things like acid reflux, arthritis, gout, gastritis, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, eczema, cancer is a big one. There's actually 149 diseases associated with acidosis. So when Logan was 2 years old and he had this severe eczema, he had the toxicity, heavy metal toxicity, of a 65-year-old electrician who smoked. He had so many toxins built up in his body that just weren't getting flushed out. Otto Warburg, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he won the Nobel Peace Prize in Physiology in 1931. He won that prize because he discovered that cancer grows in acidic tissues and cannot survive in an alkaline environment. So if you take cancer in a petri dish and you make that liquid that it's in alkaline, the cancer will die. Now, how do we alkalinize our body? Well, it can be done through diet. So why the big push for salads? Why the big push to eat the greens and the fresh vegetables? And that is because it's alkaline. Kale for breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you strictly focus on good alkaline foods, then that will help alkalinize your body. However, you need to stay incredibly strict with that diet. Otherwise, issues will come back, because oftentimes the underlying issue isn't just alkalinity or acidity. The underlying issue is how hydrated your body is. Now, Kangen water, run through the magic machine. It really is the cheapest and easiest way to alkalize your body. Now let's look at these and pretend they are just different stages of acidosis in our body. I know it's super simplified, but let's just check this out. Now what if we add some Kangen water to these waters? Purple. Purple. Look how purple that is. Purple. Purple. people alkalinizing our body. Let's try soda pop. No way. Not happening. Not happening. It is just too acidic to alkalize those things. Now, in fact, it takes 4 gallons of Kangen water to neutralize the acidity in one soda pop. Now let's take this neutralized soda pop and see what happens when we do it this way. And this is already diluted. Oh, I'm gonna run out. But I think you get the idea there of what's going on. Robert Bright is the director of a nonprofit called the American Anti-Cancer Institute. He wrote a book called Killing Cancer, Not People. It's an incredibly fascinating read. It references different books. It's full of articles, published scientific papers, and quotes from other doctors. Now, it's not just for cancer patients, because he says in here that half of all men and 2/3 of all women are going to have to deal with cancer in their lifetimes. So I think that this is a great read, not just for somebody who's going through cancer or knows someone who is, but just to know and understand more about cancer and different alternative therapies for it. Now, why do so many people have cancer? That's the question we should be asking. Not so much how do we treat it, which is important, but let's go back. Why? Why is there so much cancer going on? Now, 100 to 150 years ago, cancer was virtually non-existent. And do you know how much sugar people ate per year? About 7 pounds. Now, there's a book called Sugar Blues, and when that book was written in the 80s, they estimated that the average person eats 150 pounds of sugar per person per year. Now, when Killing Cancer Not People came out, he estimated that the average person is eating or drinking 274 pounds of sugar per person per year. That means that some people are doing less, some people are consuming more than that. Now, and half of that sugar consumed is in liquid form. Now, I looked it up. Soda pop, 64 grams of sugar. Okay, how much is 64 grams of sugar? So I looked that up. I did the math. 1 soda pop, you are consuming 1 1/3 cups of sugar. On a side note, I have heard that a lot of people, once they start drinking this Kangen water and their bodies are getting hydrated and they're getting alkaline, will help you beat that sugar dragon, as I like to call it. He talks in this book about alternative therapies like hydrotherapy and diet, which we had mentioned, acupuncture, herbs, homeopathy, but he says that the mandatory baseline requirement for those with cancer is to be drinking this water. Now, I think that most doctors would agree with me. Doctors can't heal bodies. Only our bodies can do that. Our bodies were created to be able to heal themselves, but we can do the right things and we can give our bodies the right things to help it do what it's supposed to do. Now, Wright also says that the cancer risk for a person is actually 93% higher for those who drink tap water. He also says that he's never known a cancer patient who is too alkaline. So, to summarize, we had our pH chart. Hopefully we understand now what neutral is, what alkaline is, what acidic is, how acidic these drinks actually are. I mean, even this drink and this drink, although not as bad as that, how important alkalinity is in your body to maintain that blood pH, to keep diseases and cancers from growing in the acidic organs and areas of your body. Now that you hopefully have a better grasp on pH and why it matters in our body, we will cover antioxidants next time.